Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Leagues Under the Ink, aka LUTI. My name is Jason, and joining me tonight is Brave. And tonight we're going to be bringing you Division 2, and we've got Distinct up against X Paradise. Now, if we have taken a look at what's happening in Group D in Division 2, we've seen that Distinct have been on a steamroll, having swept their both sets already. Taking down the fourth seed Astral Aces as well.
Yes, and that is the fourth seed in the entire Div 2. It is the top seed in their group, so a huge upset for them last week. And from the stats, you see that Distinct is, of course, like you said, up 2-0 and X Paradise down 0-2 in set count, but they are both still having the really strong players on both teams. This match could absolutely go either way.
Yeah, you can't discredit the fact that even though X Paradise have dropped their current two sets, they still have taken games off of those opponents, and they did run into Astral Aces before this, and they managed to put up a fight against them. So it'll be interesting to see if they've made any kind of adjustments or any kind of adaptations, especially going down 0-2. Maybe they're thinking the season for them is over, but anything can happen, and this group looks to be shaping up that way, Brave.
Absolutely, I agree, Jason. Now, I know a lot of the players on both X Paradise and Distinct from the tournaments that we've seen, and I'm really excited to see what Sal will have for us in this match, as well as Mooj. How about you, Jason?
Yep, I'd definitely like to highlight those two. Of course, Sal, or Tiger, is their in-game name, running that vanilla roller, and of course Mooj is definitely creeping up there as one of the up-and-coming bow players of the very few that we have in Europe and in the West, and we get to see not just those two but also Afro and Rafa. They have some great potential. We can see Rafa pulling out the Forge Pro here, while X Paradise are opting for this more meta comp with the S Blast and the Splash and the Pencil, and they've got also a brush to accompany that.
Yeah, and of course on Distinct we have the side of no cooler. For ship-shaped zones, cooler may not be that important with the Splash. 2 going down on X Paradise immediately within the first 15 seconds before cooler even comes out, showing that the cooler might not really matter here. Distinct doesn't care about it.
Yeah, Sal's gonna get punished for overextending on the left-hand side as the brush goes for more space, trying to get a second, but Afrozuka is gonna back up Mooj as he crosses onto this top left. Another goes down for X Paradise. They're fighting this left side too hard, and that's 2 members down. A delayed wipe almost. The last being forced to jump out is Kaya is trying to take some space on this left side. Tiger is going to wait on zone to see if anyone walks through. The caller goes out. Booyah drops onto the zone as Rafa's trying to crossfire from this right side. The S-Plus trying to push in onto the top right. Rafa is there alone again, but that's a trade onto the... And Zal's bubbled as well. Trade on zone. That should be a flip for X Paradise.
It is with the support of that crab, and the S-Blast going to get the follow-up on Rafa. We have now total control for Paradise.
Afro sharking on the bottom right-hand corner there. Is going to finally execute, but there's 3 players watching him. The Zuka's going to go out and find one. That's the Pencil down as well. That's a big pick, and it's banned without cooler. So now Distinct are going to collapse onto the zone. Sal's bubble goes up. Finally, as Afro crosses to the left-hand side. Look at this S-Plus. He's going to find it as well. Going to look for more. The Sharking Brush is going to be able to punish with the hammer, and it's going to try and get any value out of the throw. The crab's out as well. So the brush goes behind on the flank, trying to grab the attention of the bow. Maybe doesn't find Sal, but no! Sal was so lucky, but very reactive in the end, managing to find the bow and sort of stemming the bleeding off of what could have been a bit catastrophic after the brush had gotten involved in the backlines.
Yep, Sal was just in this position that Afro exactly was in and couldn't see the brush coming from behind, but that is going to be 2-3 down on X Paradise, and the points will keep on ticking here unless they get jumps to their pen player. Distinct are going to start taking off of that penalty soon.
And Tiger's already found a pick onto one and is going to look to disrupt this crab. Tiger's going to find it as well. He's going to get taken down by the Pencil at the end, but it's just the Pencil left alive, and Afro is going to collapse on this. The Pencil's put their cooler down and is trying to back away, picked it up, but now their team can't get it, and they have all of this pressure Distinct in front of the cooler in the enemy court. The S-Plus is trying to drop in. He's going to get punished by Afro once again. The brush trying to surge in onto zone, and Mooj is going to punish that. Afro will find a second, but it's too little too late for the splash, and that is going to be a game 1 for Distinct.
That was crazy good awareness by Afro, knowing that that cooler was extremely stranded. The players were nervous with these points ticking down. They wanted to be able to take their court. They really had to push fast, and he was right there with that aim to punish them properly.
Yeah, and definitely credit to Tiger as well for that neutral game that the Distinct were holding when they, even though they had lead and had still a few penalty points to go, Sal was in the right place at the right time, managing to punish the walk-ins on into the enemy court, and then also managing to push out that crab as well, which was the only resources that X Paradise had up at that moment, which allowed the rest of Sal's teammates to follow through and get more pressure up, and that allowed Afro to set up in the enemy court and then continue that aggression.
Yeah, and Afro had that huge shark in the pit area with Zuka able to force them out. That was amazing. Of course, here we see them collapsing the pencil.
Yeah, no, it was a very big pick as well onto the pencil as well, considering the pencil didn't even have their cooler yet. Then an X Paradise didn't check those sharks as well. Surely you'd think that they would be considering that the sharks would happen because, you know, of course, they've already got the roller, but Afro likes to do this as well. This is how Distinct like to play. They have Rafa and Mood sort of anchoring, playing a little bit more passive, just playing to keep up paint in the key areas that they need, and then they send Afro and Tiger forward and tell them, hey, you can just shark in whatever spot you like, and we'll keep up the paint for you. That's how Distinct have played. That's how Distinct always play, and a lot of these teams, especially in this Group D, haven't really punished that, and they're taking the same plan to X Paradise, and they're executing perfectly, and it's working out for them very well.
Yeah, for sure. With the comp they picked, their brush and pencil aren't really going to be the ones punishing sharks. They can maybe paint over, the pencil may be painting over a shark, and then the shark might be revealed. But in terms of actually taking the picks, pencil's going to struggle greatly with being able to take them out if they're like on the drops behind that cover. And the brush with such short range will also have to be right in their face to be able to try and get a pick once discovered. So it's really up to the other two to, once the paint is there and maybe even painting further themselves, really committing to taking out those sharks.
Yeah, it's going to be the job of the Splash and the S-Blast to sort of poke out those places with the Burst Bomb, sort of clear those angles with the AoE on the Blaster. They've got to do a good job of clearing those out and keeping the paint up in those key areas that Distinct are contesting. That, and they've got to work better on getting their chip damage out together, because that's what their comp is good at. They've got two Burst Bombs, they've got the Pencil, they've got the S-Blast AoE, they've got all of these tools that they can use to take these fights as a team against Distinct. And we're going to see a comp change here. Instead of an S-Blast, we've got a Wiper here as we head into Rainmaker Humpback Brave.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to see how this hammer with the new buffs is going to function. We also have a ton of object damage now on the Wiper. Of course, not too much there with Brush, Pencil, and Splash. However, the Wiper going down is going to start a push for Distinct.
Yeah, that's two early picks there. Mood's going to get this checkpoint for free as Afro pops Zuko. Callers out for the side of X Paradise. As the Crab is going to get set up on top left, it's going to be popped, but no one really being able to move off of this just yet. The Booyah from Rafa is going to put the Crab to sleep for now. And there's a pick already. Rafa's surging forward, trying to find any more. There's one jump out, and Mood's going to re-grab the Rainmaker. Sal's not here with the bubble, so maybe you could have thought they could have got more points off of this. But 21 is all they have for the moment. Afro sharking on the right-hand side, on the flank. Going for the repop with Rafa. Good that they find it. Afro's still fighting forward. And the grab from Rafa is going to push that all the way to 9. That was a brilliant flank from Afro. X Paradise weren't aware, thinking that all the danger had been cleared in front of them, but they just didn't. Again, not keeping an eye on the sharks, not keeping an eye on the flanks, as Tiger's setting up on the bottom right, as Afro pops another Zuka, trying to find the Rainmaker, not going to find it just with the last shot, managing to get it. And that's no checkpoint for X Paradise, but they managed to break their way into mid, so this is fine for now, except Afro is going to keep surging forward. Again, that's Pencil gone down, that's 2 down. Afro continually surging forward so aggressively, getting these picks, and it's just X Paradise not noticing that Afro is always playing so far forward and not really dealing with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just pen and brush, and they really needed to protect those jumps in, but the jump in had to jump out, and they had to give up all of mid.
And speaking of giving up all of mid, Tiger's going to get a trade out onto the Wiper. It's a little less offensive pressure. Surely X Paradise are going to set up a cooler and a Crab. Is anyone going to move off this? Not yet. No, we're kind of just sitting in mid. And oh, hang on, that's a good pick on the Bow, who's for some reason was playing top left, a bit far forward, I would argue. As Tiger drops in with the bubble, managing to find one. Can they find the second? Jumps out, but putting this pressure on. Walking into the bubble is the Splash, I believe. Oh no, the Brush, excuse me. But again, trades out. But it looks like it might be in the favor of X Paradise for now. It's a big pick on the flank, but the Whale is going to do the damage. And that's the Rainmaker down, trying to surge back. into this mid area is Distinct, but they really don't have to work very hard here. They've got the control. They're getting the pick as well. That's 2 down again. X Paradise taking their fights by themselves, and Distinct are punishing them every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. That is realistically going to end the push for X Paradise. We have Distinct with the Rainmaker going far, far from that well-known checkpoint for X Paradise. And X Paradise, they have no one in mid. They have no flanks. They're all just in their snipe window area and just unable to do much. And the pencil goes down from something. And that spells bad news. No cooler either on their respawns. And we're pushing again towards this final check.
Yeah, Mood's going to play the stall game for as long as they can. That's a big pick behind. Good job on Distinct for watching those flanks, watching from the crab in mid. The Viper's trying to kill the Rainmaker desperately, but no! Mood is standing strong. The Rainmaker carrier is going crazy right now, and that's another assist. We'll call it 2. Credit where it's due. That was a great play from Mooch to stall for as long as possible. Allow their teammates to set up in mid. Rafa's going to find the pick onto the brush off of the rail. The pencils gotta have to back away as Tiger has got all of this free real estate on this right side. X Paradise need to do a good job of clearing this now and clearing it quick, because time, even though it is just 1 minute and 25, it's still not the kind of situation you want to be in. You don't want to be spawn locked in this kind of situation. You want to be able to get back into mid. You want to be able to sort of force these picks with this Rainmaker, and Tiger's going to go down thanks to the hammer, but are they going to move off this? X Paradise will pop the whale off of the brush starting into mid. But no one's really putting pressure on this top left. And the flank from Afro for a second time. They're not watching it again. Afro's done the same move twice, and they've not read it. As Mooj is going to waltz their way forward towards this final pedestal. Is going to back away in the end. Allow the Zuka to get out. And the Crab's been forced out as well from the splash. And that's Tiger going down as a result. And a trade out from Afro. It's just Mooj up left. And Rafa anchoring in this bottom right corner. Brush trying to push forward. The hammer's going to come out, but it's going to get cancelled, and Rafa's got the booyah up, and the trade from Mooj onto the Rainmaker. All of this pressure, Distinct just keep sustaining it, and X Paradise they're just, when they find the first pick, they don't move at all. They really need to start putting this pressure onto these lone opponents. And for the third time, you're kidding me, Afro is going to get 2. For the third time, 3 flanks, and all 3 of them have brought value, Brave.
I'm just sitting here chuckling a little bit at this point, seeing the same plays work, but Distinct is doing a great job of being aggressive, and we, of course, are not necessarily seeing it on this Rainmaker right now, but they have kept up pressure for the past 2 minutes, just constantly killing them and making them use their resources so that they don't have much to really push with. The Rainmaker does go down, giving them overtime, but that is going to be taken by Distinct 2-0 now.
Yeah, you saw the stall attempt from Rafa was going to take it through the right checkpoint and back into spawn to make sure that X Paradise couldn't grab the Rainmaker. But X Paradise, recognizing that and recognizing that Distinct had given up all the space in the final 10 seconds, they finally moved forward and managed to get a pick on the Rainmaker. But unfortunately, they couldn't get any more space than that. And as you said, Distinct playing this game that forces you to use your resources early, use them in places you don't want to, using your specials in sort of suboptimal positions and putting them into suboptimal areas of the map, that by the time you get into mid, you don't really have anything to work with. You're kind of just back to square one. It's just like, how do X Paradise sort of manage their resources and manage their game plan effectively enough where they don't have to, commit enough to getting Distinct out of certain positions, but also that they have enough to like sort of prolong their offenses and prolong their pushes forward into mid.
Yeah, I think that they'll need to be able to deal with, of course, the Afro flanks, this flanking Afro, but also being able to really take out Distinct without the use of specials, using their main guns and any paint control that they can get from running a splash. And in order to get a pick without really having to like pop special or use too much of your ink tank, so that you can use those specials for a more aggressive push. As we head into our game number 3, we're going to be moving to Clan Blitz on Museum, which again is just still a very distinct favored map, although you might argue that again having Pencil Splash on this map is sort of way more, I think, in the favor of X Paradise. But it's the way that Rafa and Mooj are always anchoring for their 2 aggressive players, that they're always keeping the paint up, that it's not an issue. That's not an issue for them, even though they're fighting a comp that should, in theory, should outpaint them, right? Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Mooj is doing an incredible job of keeping that paint up and keeping that pressure on to sort of mitigate any kind of solo push that X Paradise try and throw at them, because we saw a lot of times on that Rainmaker Humpback where the brush would try and drop in very early, but again, it was just always Mooj and Rafa being set up on that top mid area and shutting down any of those pushes. It'll be interesting to see if X Paradise kind of make an adjustment, kind of think, hey, okay, so on the defense, we just need to put down some paint, make sure the roller doesn't get in too far, and make sure we keep an eye on the flanks, make sure Afro doesn't get anything done. And then after that, they sort of need to think, right, now that we've cleared out the two aggros, it's just the two passive people. Now we can move forward. Now we can take some paint. Now we can start pushing them further back. Hopefully, they'll have some specials to do that. We didn't see a custom blaster this time.
Yes, they do switch to custom blaster, but they are going to go down, not getting that splashdown out in the first team fight. And we are also going to see the brush down. We just are having a splash and the pen. See if this crab gets popped to try and keep the space. No, it does not. So we are trying to fight Spinner. There it is, but this is time. They've already been able to push up to Spinner. I don't think that Brick knew that. So they had to kind of waste a lot of crab there going into the safe invincibility mode and didn't get much value out of that crab, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's just a series of staggered picks from X Paradise. They really can't afford to be doing this, especially when when Distinct have so much pressure onto their plat. The brush is going to try and go in. Meow's going to get taken down in that 2v1 situation. Now Distinct are going to set up on this left-hand side, try and re-clear this mid. 2v2, that's with bomb kill from Afro, and the Zuka is going to find the pencil.
Bomb.
It's going to die to the bomb.
Amazing bomb from
Rafa
Yao.
is going to grab the ball, set up this bubble as Sal, and the Booyah's out as well. Surely this is prime time for Distinct to move. The Booyah's perfectly placed, is going to pincer that final player. It's just the pen left alive, and Mooj's going to get the score, and that's 60 points. Afro is coming back with more. He's going to pick up another climb and get another power. Surely that's 40. No, not the bomb kill shuts that down. And Mooj is trying to cross, but it's going to be forced to move. And
Someone
Rafa
dives
tried
and
to
gets
get
that ball in.
Yeah, Rafa sacrificed his life for that and got the score. Their life, excuse me. That's 37 points with so much game left to go. And again, it's just X Paradise. They got the picks, or they've managed to clear the danger, but they didn't move into mid. And now they have to refight this so difficultly, or so much more difficulty rather. And they're now finally a moving set up top with what a distinct setup on plat. The Chump's going to go out into mid and put some more paint down, as Tiger is going to wait around this left-hand side after the echolocator disappears. Do they spot the bottom right? The Blaster is going to tag onto one. The Zuka's out as well, as Tiger's going to have to back away, and Afro's going to get killed. Tiger, might have to criticize that play. Left Afro out there on an island with the Zuka, didn't support them. Rafa's Booyah, excuse me, is going to try and halt this push for now. Rafa's going to find one. Is he going to be big for another? The Blaster managing to clear that. And the Brush trying to move in, trying to get this ball in, but Mooj is already set up there on the top right, and that's 3 down. You thought that maybe X Paradise had an opportunity, but they just didn't sort of commit any resources besides the whale. I thought the Custom Blaster might use the splashdown on the Spinner, but distinct fair play to them, shut it down quickly and managing to get like multiple picks at once. So that allowed them to stop that push and climb back into mid. And as I say, climb back into mid, it's way quicker than X Paradise did.
The pen is going to get a good pick on the stringer there, forcing the final shot to go all the way to the Spinner, going down as well. They pushed quick and fast. They are going to get their first score here, and with Cooler out, they will be back fast if they do go down.
It's a pick onto Rafa, as Kayla is going to try and keep his basket open. The Crab's up on the top left. The Pencil is going to try moving. Maybe the Brush is going to... That's a jump hit on the... I think on the top. Yeah, that's the ball gone in. They still need a couple more clams. Meow's on their own. Is going to score 2, but that's not enough, and is going to get taken down as a result. But that's a decent push for X Paradise. That's better. It's the best we've seen out of them so far. It was well done. They've managed to find the picks. They managed to set up their special weapons. But Distinct also did a good job of just sort of waiting them out, realizing that X Paradise had a lot of score to go, and sort of waited for X Paradise to use their resources before finally taking the fights back to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great part about that push is that they are only 2 balls away from lead, but the other part of that statement is that they need 2 whole balls. It's not just one flank with a ball jump that will get them lead. They need a really strong push with kills and really strong, like, they have to have their Spinner, and right now with a Blaster having to jump out after splashdown and also going down, that is going to be very bad for X Paradise.
Well, a nice bait play from Meow, set up the pen to get rid of Afro, but it's traded out. They need to clear top man now. The Custom Blaster is going in. Kayla is trying to find the bow, managing to tag them up as Rafa's trying to follow up and protect the bow. And there's trade outs on opposite sides of the map. The Blast is managing to find another. Well done from Kayla, trying to push Mooj back again, putting so much pressure on, allowing this crab to get set up. And it's finally going to force Mooj. No! I thought the jump out would have been successful, but no, that's 2 picks onto the plat. Traded out as well. But X-Paradise still have a ball and still have 4 members. Distinct on the respawn. Oh, another early pick. That's the Zuka gone down from Afro. They might have wanted that a lot earlier, as Brick is going to try and move in to throw this ball in, but no, the movement is not good enough. The splashdown, he's going to find 1, and the ball is managing to be scored. They still need a few more clams. The pencil is going to get taken down. It's just the brush and the splash up. Now is trying to take along this crate. It's going to get taken down by Afro, and the Booyah is going to shut down any more opportunity. The jump in is too late and too little. Clam economy. X-Paradise weren't able to get things going in the overtime, and Distinct will move up 3-0 in this best of 9 set.
And that's really scary. 3-0 in a best of 9. That is only 2 more games that Distinct needs to seal out this set. And right there, it was really crucial that they had such a large penalty, but not quite enough pressure. The crab was amazing getting that 90 shot on the bow and completely clearing spinner, but we had no one from X-Paradise on the spinner, being maybe a bit mispositioned there, maybe swimming it out from spawn, but we had no one to really hold the spinner after that, and it really hurt the push. And so it was very difficult for them to erase that entire penalty and also get the lead. If they had scored just 1 ball in the first 3 minutes of the game, they would have had less to go and they would have been able to get that lead. But regardless, amazing job from Distinct being able to clutch out that defense even after going 2 down.
Yeah, it was a crazy trade out. We barely caught on the spec cam. It was two picks from I think it was Sal on the shark around spinner. The X-Paradise weren't really doing a good job of clearing. They didn't, as you said, they didn't really have good control of the spinner. And when they finally got the picks and the ability to move, then they just didn't have enough clams. They had the ball ready. They had the pity from Distinct's last push, but they didn't have any other clams. So they were relying too much on hoping that once they got the clam ball in, they were able to sort of stagger Distinct's retake and try and find some picks that they can store for time and then sort of back for clams. But because they had to back for clams in that situation, it allowed Distinct to move back into spinner without having to try very hard at all. And then they got the Booyah set up, and by that point, Distinct had already managed to kill 2 of the X-Paradise members, and it was just the brush left trying to storm that spinner and with a jump in behind. But again, they didn't have enough clams, and that's why that defense was more successful with Distinct, and also why I think X-Paradise could have done a little better on that offense. They might have recognized that they would have had more time to get more clams, even though they managed to get the picks. There might have been an opportunity for them to get more clams in mid before scoring initially, but that won't be the worries for now as we head into game number 4 onto Tower Control Hagglefish.
Yeah, absolutely. We are, of course, going into next game. You can talk as much as needed for what could have gone wrong, what could have done better last game, but eventually you do have to go next and try to fix the problems on a different map and mode. We have the roller going. Actually, that's going to be Afro going down to the crab early from X-Paradise, and X-Paradise are trying to push up with this crab. They do get another pick, but there are suddenly just scraps in mid and not much happening for either team. Rafa going to get 3 there and kind of put an end to this awkward mid fight and say that they are going to get the first push.
It was a brilliant opening from X-Paradise. They got the early pick with the crab, but they just didn't account for the fact that, again, is the shark players that we've been mentioning, that the X-Paradise aren't clearing. They need to do a better job of that, and that resulted in this sort of stall fest in mid. And then on top of that, X-Paradise thought they had pressure, and then they tried to jump back in, not realizing that they'd already gone 2 members down, and it was just a lack of coordination. But Kayla's going to set up this bubble. It's a bubble blast this time instead of the splash down, but Afro's going to surge around side, managing to find one. Not before they get the lead, X-Paradise, but Afro is trying their best. Brick is finally going to take them down. The pencil's going down as well. That's a trade out and a wipe out. A lot of fights being taken in a lot of places. It's difficult to keep track of. Chaos ensues, but Distinct are on top of it.
No, yeah, I'm having difficulty just keeping track. I saw Afro coming from behind, and I was like, hold on. How is he there? Did he go through mid? Did he right flank? What's going on here? I don't understand this perspective, but Now we are back in mid with Afro's Zuka, and it is looking like it's not going to find any and get taken out by the blaster. That is now 2 down for Distinct, giving X Paradise with Cooler a chance to try and kind of take Distinct's court paint up and not let them drop. But the roller with Bubble going to say no to that, taking out the pencil and leaving a Bubble left behind once dead.
The push still could be alive, but Afro again just getting behind enemy lines every single time. Just X Paradise really needs to be punishing these walk-ins. It's allowing Distinct to get set up again and to get back into mid again. It's just Afro and Sal have always constantly been the issue for X Paradise, and they've just not been able to adjust and been able to deal with that. And now Distinct will finally try and make their way into mid. The BR's going to go out, thrown onto Snipe to move the pencil away. He's going to get the kill onto it with no cooler, but how many times have we been saying that? Distinct have been doing such an excellent job of making this Pencil's life a nightmare, making sure they can't get their cooler out, making sure they can't keep paint up, and this is what allows Distinct to sort of keep this paint control up, and the bubble's going to be set up as Kayla's on the flank. Have they been aware? Afro's wise to it, but not before Kayla gets one. Going to be traded out in the end. A second BR from Rafa, but that's 2 BRs in under 30 seconds as Distinct finally pushed his second checkpoint.
That's crazy to see from Forge. We love the Forge buffs, and seeing Forge all the way up in D2 is amazing, but Distinct going 3 down is going to end that push. They did finally get that first checkpoint and all the way to 46. That is pretty solid given how back and forth this game has been, and given that X Paradise hasn't been able to get the first check themselves and going 2 down, it's looking very good for Distinct at the moment.
X Paradise. Wide to the flank this time. Well done from Meow, the brush, as they're going to manage to search for. They need to check this roller, though they could be lurking nearby. No, they're actually off spawn. It's okay for now. Not until I thought they'd cleared the enemy court with enough paint, but there we go. The roller has gone down. They should be able to get this checkpoint, not unless the whale and the top right pressure from Distinct keeps them off, and the bombs as well. Their pencils trying their best to break the checkpoint, but just no help. X Paradise pushing further forward than they needed to, allowing Distinct to get those picks. And again, they've just collapsed into mid immediately. And they've got this mid control again. And now they're going to move the tower further towards X Paradise's left-hand side. As Mooj keeping an eye on the flank. The brush is going to have to back away. The bubbles come out. Still 4v4 for now, but the whale's going to find the brush. Putting pressure onto the crab is Mooj with the whale on the bow. And the Zuka, goodness me, throw the entire kitchen sink at that crab. Don't let it live. All right, Distinct. Goodness me, they did not want that crab to be up. Gee, goodness me.
But it does live, and all the way to 63% of another crab will be extremely bad for Distinct, especially with the bow now being down. If that crab goes live on tower, they will be having great pressure here with a bubble as well. If there is a Zuka, there is not. They are going to break this check and maybe have a little bit more.
Yeah, again, 2 members down, trying to break the checkpoint with little time left. Kayla managing to find Trent with the roll, that's quite big, but they've got to clear this top right space as Mood is putting pressure on, but no, not before the lead goes down, and a jump in is going to be forcing a wipeout, but they managed to find the lead, but a bit scrappy, and the lead's not safe. It's only 2 points, and again, neither team reached the checkpoint, so really all Distinct need to do is keep pressure onto this right-hand side, make sure nobody drops in on left, and X Paradise are gonna get taken down. 3 down? How has this happened? The Zuka managing to find 1, but they've gone 3 down so early, diving in so quickly without any thought for setting up a special weapon. And now the bubble's going to be set up, and surely that's going to secure the game for Distinct as they head towards match point.
Wow, that was amazing from Distinct to be able to come back from it. Truly, that 3 down was kind of the nail in the coffin, because they were able to whale the splash, make them not really get to charge Crab as efficiently anymore, and Crab isn't right like a GG special for tower by any means. Getting that bubble set up was the nail in the coffin for Distinct, but what was truly unfortunate for X Paradise with their push was that they did get wiped out, and a few of them, I believe, didn't even have cooler, so they did not have specials, they did not have anything besides their main and sub weapons to be able to try and defend, and it was very difficult with the bow already had a whale ready to be popped whenever the time was right. And all the other members got to charge special using X Paradise's court, using X Paradise's flanks, and then when the bubble came out from that charge, it was really game over.
Yeah, but X Paradise have slowly but surely been adjusting to Distinct's playstyle, to that aggression of Afro and Sal. We saw in the second half of that game, they finally managed to adjust to the constant flanks, managing to get punish those, get those picks, so they can continue looking forward. And it almost paid off, but again, it's just as we mentioned in game 2, where Distinct force you to use so many of your resources to, in a sense, achieve so little, and then you're left with barely anything to continue any kind of offense, any kind of pushes, or to prepare any kind of better hold. As we move into game number 5, which will be on Zones ROM, and again, it plays into Distinct's favor because this map is so tight. They can keep up pain and keep up pressure in these key areas with the Sharks from Sal and the aggressive plays from Afro. And not only that, because the map is so small, Rafa and Muj only need to keep an eye on a much smaller area.
I think that with Underpass being such an amazing blind spot from Pencil, there will be a lot of activity there from maybe Afro, maybe Sal, Tiger. But as we go into the final game, like you were mentioning, X Paradise has done a good job of adapting. They finally had, for the first time, a lead with very little time left, forcing overtime, forcing Distinct to go into an overtime victory. And they are looking to try and take their first game. A reversal at this point will be very difficult, especially with all the modes that they have to win on back to back to back to back. But it could still absolutely happen. And with Zones Robораmen, this is of course going to be extremely good for Pencil, not so much for Bo in comparison. We will just have to see how the game plays out.
Yeah, and I'm sure Distinct's plan will be to just get the chumps ready, put them on the zone to put some kind of paint on, and then hopefully while the enemy team is distracted trying to clear those, that Sal will then move in to put the bubble up. That's how they generally like to retake on this map. And hopefully, if X Paradise recognize that, hopefully they'll be able to either punish the bow before the bow can get the chumps off, or punish the roller before the bubble gets off. They're going to switch to Gao here instead of Brush to sort of, I guess, have more stability in their comp. Still a bit same kind of fighting power, but with the Brush, they'll only be worrying about sort of looking forward, not be worrying about flanks. And Distinct to only, as I said, they're only worrying about what's happening in front of them, and what happened in front of them is sort of just 2 X Paradise players, now 3 X Paradise players exploding. The cooler's gone down, but Distinct not quite pushing the ramp just yet, waiting for some special weapon to move forward. I'm sure they'll have one of Booyah or Bubble soon. There's Tiger in with the bubble onto the ramp, but gets punished for it, and a drop onto the right. That's onto the bottom left, excuse me. That's 2 picks as time ticks down and the pressure is mounting. Mooj combines with Rafa for that pick on the top left, trying to refight the top left. The Booyah's going to find another. It's 2v3. There's Afro trying to find any more picks. There it is, and that's a delayed wipe. Still, again, X Paradise staggering as the zone ticks down to the final 30.
Yeah, and with only Crab online for this retake, if they rush it, they are going to be needing to get picks with this Crab plus their main weapons. And we do see Zeal taking the elbow with that wall and Crab, but we need to have zone not only neutralized, but also capped in our favor without dying.
That's a big pick onto the zone, and that's 2. That's still, the main page is still up for Distinct, and that's going to be it! Just like that. Unfortunately, the Blaster, though Kayla managing to find 2 picks there, couldn't find the right kills onto the main painters, and as a result, that allowed, with the chumps that I mentioned earlier, putting enough paint on zone, and all Afro had to do from there with Mooj was just keep the paint up, and as a result, Distinct will take another sweep and will go 15-0 in games in Group D of LUTI Division 2.
That's right. Distinct has not dropped a single game, including to the top seed of their group, showing that they obviously deserved at least D2 as they were placed, and that they are a very strong candidate to be making playoffs. At this point, they have almost all but secured playoffs, as they'll only really need to beat the Peace Strikers next week in order to make it.
Yeah, Distinct are going to be full of confidence, full of energy, full of hype. They'll be so happy with how they've been playing, and of course, like we've all witnessed it, they're playing absolutely incredibly right now. They are looking like one of the best teams in the division, I'd argue, putting to sleep every single team that they've fought so far, and I'm very confident they'll qualify for playoffs. I'm sure when they enter playoffs, I'm sure this same kind of game plan will pay dividends for them and will result in, I think, I think we could see them going all the way. I think they could make it to a grand final in this division. What about you, Brave? What do you think?
I am a little bit more skeptical as someone who played with my team against Distinct in one of the seeding events. However, I do believe that they could absolutely make a strong showing in playoffs. I think that D2 has a lot of extremely strong teams, and I think that those teams will be seen in Grands. I am particularly looking at Auntie to perhaps be in Grands of the D2 playoffs. They've also been going really strong in their first 2 sets that they've played in LUTI, and they just have a really strong lineup. But I am looking forward to seeing Distinct's front. I will absolutely be watching because I am a fan of their team. I'm friends with them, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah. Not the only team. Auntie, again, they've been playing just as well as Distinct, going 2-0 in their Group B. But we also got to keep an eye on Orca Ballester, of course. I'm sure everyone knows that name. And $5 comps as well. Both of those teams in Group A and have been performing very well thus far. However, it's still all to play for because the rest of Group D is still to play, is still in contention, I feel. Actually, sorry, excuse me, it's not really because we've got Paradigm Starfish in that group as well, who are also up 3-0 as well, and now Distinct has gone 3-0, so those playoff spots in Group D looking all but secure. Hopefully someone in the next 2 weeks can play spoiler. But that will be it for now from me, myself, and Brave. We will have another set for you in a couple minutes. Coming up next will be Tidy Tidings versus Saddest. So don't go anywhere. So we'll have more LUTI coming up for you next.
And Jason, where can the good people find you before we go?
You can find me on my Blue Sky at JAS1N, and you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/JS000N, where I stream my own LUTI. I'm playing in Division 4 with Tudo Bay, so you can find me there as well. And Brave, what about you?
All right, okay. The streams, I may have to tune in. You can find me on Twitter at brave_SSB. I am not streaming my runs with Magnolia, and I've gotten some flack from Stormy from that, but we do tweet on our, of course, team page after we do them like we normally do, and so I guess I would plug that as well. Come check out our progress at Magnolia__SPL, and that is all from me.
Awesome. Yep. As I said, we will have Tidy Tidings versus Saddest in just a moment. So keep the stream open, grab a drink, grab a snack, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Spoke too soon, apparently. We're not flipping the zone. Come on, guys, we're not flipping the zone. Information a bit more control. Hydra just bowling and hello. Spoke too soon, apparently. We're not flipping the zone. Come on, guys, we're not flipping the zone. Information a bit more control. Hydra just bowling and hello.
We're just gonna give more players power clams. That's exactly what's happening. So they got them all in. Oh my goodness.
Do you want to get started in competitive Splatoon but don't know how to? The Stronghold offers a free beginners academy service for new players wanting to play Splatoon competitively. We want to make it as easy as possible for new players to join competitive. We'll create teams out of applicants and train you through a season providing scrims, practices, and coaching. At the end of the season, teams that graduate will play in their first community tournament. Graduating teams will be given a free logo and invited to play in the invite-only Academy Showcase event, where they get to play on stream and show off the skills they've learned in the Academy. So what are you waiting for? Apply for the Academy today using the link on screen.
We've had plenty of great Splatoon locals that took place in 2024, spanning all across the United States. Champions have been crowned from coast to coast, the Great Lakes, and the South. These winners, however, never had an opportunity to face each other. What if in 2025, we took this to the next level? Introducing the Splatoon LAN Championship Showdown, a tournament where the winners of our favorite locals can face off in an online 8-team double elimination tournament. The best part is, you have an opportunity to play. In the early months of 2025, 8 locals will act as qualifiers for the LAN Championship Showdown, including Big Dapple in New York City, New York.
The game!
Bouillabaisse in San Jose, California. Chai Shoals in Chicago, Illinois.
Pretty hard though. Yeah, just like that.
Gatorland in Gainesville, Florida.
It's just, oh, it's a wipeout, and that might be 8 points.
H-Town Splashdown in Houston, Texas. New England in Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, they fell off the. Oh my God!
Sea Battle in Seattle, Washington.
It's a wipeout.
Sunset Surge in Arizona. Win at one of these locals, you get an automatic bid to participate in the LAN Championship Showdown in April 2025, streamed on Splatoon Tourney. Be on the lookout for advertisements from the local closest to you regarding their qualifier. Who will come out on top?
Sunset Surge 2024. This has been the most hype I've ever been in a long time. Well, I'm happy to hear, man. I'm happy to hear.
Introducing the Splatoon LAN Championship Showdown. A tournament where the winners of our favorite locals can face off in an online 8-team double elimination tournament.
I think they get it. Oh, that's the game. That's monkey. Oh my god.
Come at me.
Introducing the Splatoon LAN Championship Showdown. A tournament where the winners of our favorite locals can face off in an online 8-team double elimination tournament.
Kick down the clock, all four of them alive.
One,
Two
that's
picks.
it. But one behind the toilet. Can they get something too?
The best part is, you have an opportunity to play.
Oh!
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 That's all the marbles. Wait, oh my god. Oh!
Oh, that's a lot of control. He might just get it here. They
Allowing them to take the lead.
barely. You're gonna get blocked by the
You gotta go! You gotta go! No!
It's up to Red to recap the zone all on her own. And they get
Just
it.
like Welcome back. Nobody's got down. The zip caster gets two. He gets two.
Who will come out on top? Introducing the Splatoon LAN Championship Showdown, a tournament where the winners of our favorite locals can face off in an online 8-team double elimination tournament.
And the tri-strike take two! With Kronos coming in and following up with the third, that is the wipeout going with 10 seconds left to go!
We're getting straight into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to LUTI on Dapple Productions. We got Division 4 right now, Sadist versus Tidy Tidings. I'm Sig Dakari. Joining me is Inkari. Inkari, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, really happy to hop onto the mic again, and looks like we're canceling the match right away. A bit of a false start here, but welcome everyone, as you said, to LUTI. So we have a Division 4 match, as you said, between Tidy Tidings and Sadist. It's week 3 of the LUTI, if I remember well. And let's have a look at those lineups.
I believe Sadist is made up of 2 Japanese players, if I recall correctly, and then Skirt, one of the Swiss players in the community, and then I don't remember where is from or their weapons, unfortunately. I think they are German, but I don't quite recall their weapons. On the side of Tidy Tidings, they got 5 or 6 player roster. We can expect Rain on the bucket, Bob using the blasters for some AoE, Cody just bringing it up with the support shooters, Ku, if I recall, played with them a few times before as a Stamper and Dualies player, and then Lumi with that ballpoint just being the backline for the team. Going to be pretty interesting. We're kicking things off on zones on Shipyard? Or
Ship Cargo.
Ship Cargo. There we go. I totally didn't like just wake up.
No problem. To me, it's a night, so it's end of the day. It's all right. I'm all ready, and we're jumping right into game 1. So as you said, zone sheep shape, and we already have a first kill. I think by the Elite. We have some pretty classic comps. Elite 96 on one side, and a decav on the other one. The crab will be put by both teams. It's a duel between Hum and another player, and for the moment, it's a very strong start by Sadist, but be careful about that decav.
The decav making so much space for the rest of Tidy Tidings, but going down here into 3. Same thing with Rain on that bucket. Now Tidy Tidings have to deal with a little bit of a man disadvantage. The Kraken coming through as well is going to make things all the more difficult for them, but not quite finding any picks, just trying to force Lumi and Cody back even further. Finds one on the bottom left, but goes down, gets traded out here. And now Tidy Tidings with 2 players down might have to stall out a little bit more with these tri-strikes before they can get a full retake going now.
Very, very close game, so I mean, still good advantage for Sadist. Tidy Tidings trying to get back that zone, but they have so much trouble going forward with that crab completely defending every spot they may get into, and it's time to move forward for Sadist. Look at those positions. They are in full control right now, and Tidy Tidings are just locked into their spawn. The crab can't even position.
Ooh, it got picked off immediately by some bombs, I'm assuming. And this 96 is just barely not able to get out. Ku finds 2 on the top right, and Tidy Tidings just barely get a full retake in with those picks. Rain ends up going down again, though. But Tidy Tidings, the important part is they got that zone. They've established a penalty, and now they're taking down, trying to close in on that lead that Sadist has accrued for themselves. And they've got a couple of specials to do so. The first one up for Tidy Tidings is that big bubbler here.
Have the big babbler, but I mean, Sadist weren't lacking some tools to go forward, but they lost 2 players, the Zap and the Splasher, which are, of course, like 2 of the main weapons they have to go forward with that cooler and the crab. The Kraken is going up and finding 1 pick. The Zap is, the Splasher is following with 3 kills, and that's an amazing retake by Sadist going forward and taking like the delayed wipeout.
Yeah, forcing that jump out as well is really big. Now you don't have to worry about a big flank, and you really burn a lot of time. That's, almost as much as just getting a full kill as well. Although you don't have to, you don't get that special economy reset. It's still a pretty big pick to have. And now is just trying to hold the space on this top left. Oh no, the headed doesn't know, and finds the pick. Lumi goes down. The strikes are just barely in the zone. They get the retake. But this leader is just staring down the zone. Nobody can really push through. If they do, they get picked off immediately. And Sadist, they have control of this zone again, and they're getting through this penalty pretty quick, especially with the Kraken just making so much space.
Getting through that penalty pretty quick, but I mean, the penalty in itself is pretty big. They still have like 30 points left, 30 ticks now 20, but they still are in very, very good control for the moment. The Crab is holding that position, holding that ground. The strikes will be launched by Tidy Tidings, but they don't make work on the zone, and for the moment they still have a lot of work to do. And it's not working, and with 5 ticks left and some good kills, I think it's gonna be, yep, game 1 for Statists.
Great plays there, fantastic holds both at the end and the beginning for Satis. They're really able to especially utilize that Kraken just to make so much space, make life incredibly difficult for Tidy Tidings. Now, Tidy Tidings did have a solid retake, but they just weren't able to close in on the lead almost at all. Satis were still able to get a full retake in. They were able to set back up and really just make things difficult, especially on this hold. You see that 96 just basically having free reign of wherever they went, especially with that wall.
I mean, they have a very good comp at holding this ground. They have 2 long-range weapons, especially the LUTI offers like the bigger range of the whole game. And also the 96. 96 is amazing because you have a wall, you have some amazing range, and in case you get rushed at, just put a Kraken and nobody can kill you, so...
Yeah. 96 just really good at being a bit of a cockroach there, just staying alive for way too long. And then the rest of the team just able to push up beautifully. The zap, once it pops cooler, it can run in and just fight anybody it wants. Now, my number one question going into this is, will Satis run the same thing again? A lot of their weapons on this next map mode of Rainmaker Humpback can kind of struggle. Like, charters generally are known to not be very solid here. Wall weapons oftentimes can have a little bit of difficulty, and then Crab Tank also might have a couple of issues just finding good spots to be popped, making enough space for the Rainmaker to push forwards. What do you think we can expect to see here?
Definitely Slusher. I mean, Slusher is the big thing here. Rollers are very good, especially Carbon. Like, you can just move around and go through the whole defense if you have a good enough position. It's a kind of weapon that works well. A lot of aggressiveness, a lot of speed. That's where you can make insane work on that map. Especially that mode also, where you have to move a lot.
Yeah, Rainmaker is incredibly fast. And so those super mobile weapons, the short range shooters, especially outside of the buckets and blasters, I think will probably be like the major difference makers here for both teams. And Satis will definitely have to play around them a lot more than in game 1 if they want to like keep the momentum going. Tidy Tidings, though, I really like their team comp going into this. You have Rain on the bucket, Ku on that decapitator with the big bubbler. Definitely going to be like huge, instrumental in setting up those pushes, making it so the Rainmaker has a lot of safe space to push through. And we just see a massive switch up from both teams, really, as Cody comes in running the shot, and that's a Luna Neo from Bubong.
It's a Luna Neo on one side, so I mean, it's a weapon that picks up a lot of plays recently. But Vanilla Rapid Pro, that's kind of an unusual pick, especially on the map where we said that range isn't that good. They are playing like 2 long-range weapons with the Rapid Blaster Pro, and the Forejet can be considered as long range. But for the moment, it worked very well. They picked up the first push and are still going forward with those skills. Rainmakers at 76 points, make it 60 with that checkpoint broken.
And they're looking to set up a little bit more. The Booyah Bomb coming through just to force people off. The Crab Tank also getting popped in the Ink Vac as well. Every special is just getting used here, trying to get as much mileage as possible out of this first push. And Sadis have pushed it all the way down to 7 here, Inquiry. That is just fantastic for the first minute of this game. But now the question is, can they hold for these next 4?
4 minutes is going to be a long time if you want to hold that push. But since it's such an impressive one, I mean, it's gonna be hard for Tidy Tidings to actually like challenge that. They have what it takes to do it, but look, I mean, Sadis are already in position to defend everything. The Crab is here picking up 1 kill, but putting pressure on the defense lines. Such a strong position for Sadis there. They have everything they need to defend, but Tidy Tidings are coming back slowly but surely. Never mind, Caster Curse.
They went 3 down immediately after you said that. A bit of a commentator's curse right there. But now they're gonna need to find something with Bubong's Ultra Stam and the Trizuka coming in from Cody. Neither of which are gonna find any picks, and Bubong actually ends up going down here. bit of a tough spot to be put in if you are Tidy Tidings. You still have 3 minutes, which is okay, and the dive coming through, finding one, but you go 2 down for the cost of, still having to deal with this Rainmaker. Ballbong also drops. This Luna has just been having a bit of a rough time on the defense here. Whenever Sadists have held the possession of Rainmaker, and Rain's not going to have much of an easy time either, just getting picked off immediately. 20 seconds left on this Rainmaker before it goes down, but Ballbong finally finds one, gets the second. It's just N left on this heavy edit, and they're just going to try and stay alive, but can't. Ballbong finds the third, and this might be exactly what Tidy Tidings are looking for here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they need those huge picks and those wipeouts if they want to go forward. For the moment, they had a lot of troubles getting those. We saw the same thing on Ship Shape. They had troubles really making an impact on the game to actually get a significant push, and that's still the case. Like, they made a great, they had a great opportunity at pushing, but Sadists are here, but for the moment, never mind. Again, Commentator Cursed is hitting me, and they get the checkpoint. They are also keeping those positions, and for the moment, Sadists aren't looking very good at defending, just trying to go back into the fight, but Tidy Tidings are still there.
They've done a great job at just kind of setting up in elbow. Ballbong here just trying to make a little bit more space with the Ultra Stamp, not quite going to find N. N able to stay alive, drops down for the rest of the team, and this Rainmaker got reset. It took too long for Tidy Tidings to pick it back up, and now they're going to have to deal with the consequences. The Booyah Bomb, the Crab Tank. Ballbong does find one, but going to have to back off before S and L end up trading them out. And now we're back to a little bit of neutral. Sadist can kind of take a quick breather here and reset, just get the paint set up for themselves, make sure that they have another solid defense, especially with a minute left. Those strikes from the side of Rain are going to be incredibly important in making space for Tidy Tidings here.
Yeah, very, very important. Oh, nice kill by Harmon Cody here onto that street, but getting completely punished right after. Nice revenge kill, but for the moment, Sadists have a bit of a trouble defending. They are getting like walled out onto their spawn. They can't go to mid, and it's looking very good for Tidy Tidings, but now they need to push. They had the first half of the work done, got the checkpoint. They have to go way more forward than this.
They do. They haven't even gotten past the checkpoint really. And they have to get to elbow in the first place, but to get to elbow, you have to deal with S there in the Shark. Is just trying to play a little bit of backup as a secondary plan, provide some burst bomb support, and burst bomb support is exactly what you're going to get with Ballbong going down, and then Lumi getting picked off by the Crab Tank. S is moving forwards, but can't find anything. It's just Rain left, and Rain goes down to, I believe that was the back shot. And with that last pick and the Rainmaker getting picked up by Sadist, they will take game 2 and put themselves in a pretty comfortable spot.
Pretty comfortable spot, but I mean, this is best of 9. Like, you have a lot of possibility to recover if you're Tidy Tidings. There's still like 7 games to play at best, so it's not that big of a lead if you're on best of 9. Best of 7 would be kind of dangerous because you're putting yourself in a position where the team has an access to a match point. But they still have a lot of ways to recover from this and a lot of games to be played.
There is still opportunity, like you said, but also at the same time, you have to dig yourself out of this hole. It really hurts to go 2-0 down early, especially when you're giving a team that much momentum on 2 completely different comps as well. I think just the fact that Sadists have played 2 basically entirely different styles of game, one with a leader and 96, and one with this kind of double midline, double backline sort of thing that they had going on with the rapid edit. It feels like they're just being allowed to do whatever they want so far, and maybe that could change. Again, this is early in the set, but it's just been working out too well for them. They really haven't given Tidy Tidings any space, so the ball is in their core. What will Tidy Tidings do here on Clan Blitz on Museum?
I mean, you just said Sadists weren't giving any space to Tidy Tidings, but that will be a lot harder to do because we're going to Museum, and Museum is a very open map. You have a lot of space, so I think it can be easier for Tidy Tidings to actually make the space they need to go forward and set up their plans.
Yeah, the space might be exactly what Tidy Tidings need. Again, I really feel like maybe it might be lean more towards Sadist's favor just because they have been playing the longer range comps, whether that be the leader or the double back. So I think that it'll be tough for Tidy Titans to play, but like you said, this could be the change of pace they need. Maybe they just want to play the longer range stuff, give themselves more space to just run down Sadist. But again, this could be like just a very, very difficult game 3 for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll see how it goes because it can go either way. As you said, we've seen Sadist just work their way with 2 completely different comps, but on maps that are pretty similar. I mean, the 2 previous maps were very close and very, very small, and we're going to a very huge map with a lot of openness to it. And they're going with a comp again completely different. Like we have a Zimi, we have a Stamper, but it's still very, very aggressive for the moment.
Yeah, very incredibly aggressive. The Stamper and Zimmy really bring that up along with the Zap. Just once it gets that cooler, able to kind of run people down. It looks like already, though, Tidy Tidings are trying to set the pace early, maybe get some picks, create the man advantage. Both the swords end up dropping here as it's a 3v3 fighting for mid. Lumi's trying to just find one, and Rain's there to possibly clean up, but it's going to be the other way around as L does end up finding that next pick for Sadist here. Now, Ku on this ramp is going to get shut down too. Really extensive, impressive stuff, and now S with the Zipcaster just going to try and make a little bit more space. Sadist are finally moving back towards mid and just trying to get a push of their own going, and with the 2 picks near the ramp there, it's entirely possible that they just fully set up and maybe get a power claim in.
Yeah, the first minute has gone by and it was just a full minute of neutral position and teams trying to get the edge of the other. And for the moment, it's working very well for Sadist. They have a huge opportunity at pushing. Nice kill by L, and the clams out, and no, they're getting splatted because the defense is already there by the Luna. Luna getting killed, and it's still going for Sadist for now.
But that jump out is going to kind of cause the end of the push. I'm just trying to find some exit frags. Gonna get one on Deku, but eventually getting shut down there just to even things up. Tidy Tidings are gonna play a little bit slow getting back into mid here. That's gonna give Sadist kind of the time they need to get a tactical cooler, possibly a big bubbler as well, and hold the space a lot more easily. There's the big bubbler on deck. It's just a question of where will they push it, and also can Bobong find anything with the hammer? The hammer is going to get one, but and it's going to actually get a second one. The Booyah Bomb, or the big bubbler, not a Booyah Bomb, ends up working in favor of Tidy Tidings, and they're going to try and extend it. Bobong already moving onto the right side of the plat. Rain with these strikes coming through has that power climb at the ready, but the crab tank from is just shutting down so much opportunity from Tidy Tidings.
Yeah, very important crab there, completely able to stop the push. And nice double kill, make it 3 by S. What a defense by the Stamper player. And the specials are, I mean, the special is ready. Never mind getting splatted right after. And that's a huge comeback by Tidy Tidings. They got wiped out and came off so strong right after. And it's still continuing.
They have another opportunity here. The hammer from Bobong gets popped, but guess who's there? It's the Stamper. S able to shut down, looking for Lumi as well on the flank, but Lumi's able to jump out, do some evasive maneuver, and find a pick of their own on the Tidy Tidings are going to get a little bit of a reset here just to try and recuperate and get their numbers up. But now Sadist have a bit of an opportunity. The Kugler's up, the Zipcaster is ready, going to get popped here. It's just a question of what angle are they looking for, and it looks like they're just going to go straight onto the plat. Ends up getting picked off, not in favor of Sadist. Now Tidy Tidings have a big bubbler on the middle spinner, and that's going to lead to a lot of control and kind of sectioning off a couple of these players of Sadist.
Back to neutral. The hammer is there, picking up a nice kill. Maybe a second one. Yes, it does take the trade, on the Zimi. And for the moment, the last squid standing is the crab tank, making a huge play by defending and holding that ground. But Tidy Tidings ready to defend, ready to, go back to work and go back to another push. The strikes are being launched, not picking anyone, but making people go back into full defense. it's looking, I mean, not so good for Tidy Titans, but they still have one opportunity. This may be it.
Yeah, and those picks are going to mean everything for them. They have a little bit of control of ramp. However, the jump ins are going to be punished. Able to jump out thanks to picking up that tactic hooler. And it's just one player left on the ramp for Tidy Tidings. They're going to have to jump out and again get a reset in. They have really not been able to break this defense on the side of Satis, whether it be the Stamper finding 3, just holding strong with that Crab Tank, or any of the other members of Satis just standing up and holding their ground. Tidy Tidings really haven't found a great opportunity here, but from the strikes, the hammer, really anything that they've had.
Yeah, for the moment, Tidy Tidings are looking a bit... it's looking hard for them to actually make it work. Lumi alone on that right side, trying to take the pick on the Stamper, forced to go back, and we're going to overtime. They have the clams if they need to push, but... Yeah, Satis are still there. Satis are still there to defend, and it's looking very good for them. They have so much momentum, and it looks like we're going to a 3-0, and now that's going to get really problematic for Tidy Tidings.
Tough spot to be in. You haven't been able to really convert on the smaller maps, on the larger maps, fast or slow. Satis have really just been everywhere that Tidy Tidings want to be, shutting them down, finding so many multis, so many just trades in their favor, whether it's 2-for-1s, 3-for-1s. It's just all really shown up for Satis, and this game has been no different. They got that first push in, that's all they needed, really.
Yeah, really, and I mean, such a strong show of what they can do on the side of Satis. As you said, they made it work on everything. Like they went to closed maps, very long maps like Ship Shape. They made it work with a charger. Went to Humbug, completely. I mean, not flat map, but very large. A lot of highs and lows. It worked again, and now very open map and both long and large. Complete dominance. I mean, Tidy Tidings didn't have one push.
Yeah, not a single one has really resulted in a Tidy Tidings win, and it's kind of tough just seeing that. Now you have to go on to a map that we will probably be seeing a leader again on Hagglefish Market Tower Control. Definitely one of the solid leader maps here. And if you're seeing it again, and even if you're not, what are you going to be able to do to kind of counter Satis? They've kind of been just an unstoppable force for these past 3 games, and Tidy Tidings just haven't found an answer yet.
Haven't found an answer, but they will have to, because as you said, Tower Control, Hagglefish Market, Lito is going to be insanely strong on that one. Pablo is going to be very good at defending the tower if they need to. Blasters are still very good, so we might see the Luna again. Maybe Luna with Dipcaster, as Dipcaster is still very strong on that map. You can move around freely with that special.
The Zip Luna would be pretty fun. I don't think we've seen that many players kind of use it, except for like Noctis, and seeing more players push it would be really, really fun. Zipcaster, super strong on tower control, has some great options to deal to kind of end it in overtime. There's that leader and the Stamper coming through again, but no Blaster, unfortunately. We're running it back to the Wiper that Ku is rocking, and then Rain and Cody are back here with the Splash. Switching over to a Splash actually is Cody, I believe. I don't think we've seen him on that yet.
Yeah, don't think so, but the Crab is already out, picking 1 kill on the Wiper. And I mean, Satis are just starting off very strong again. Zap gets killed on that right side, but still back to neutral position with a clear advantage for Satis still. They have the mid and they still have control of what's happened on it. Never mind, it's starting to get some pretty flanks on the side of Tidy Tidings, but already rushing, picking 2 kills, make that 3. Huge opening by Satis, and that's going to cost Tidy Tidings a lot.
With the quad there, with that jump in, just makes so much space for Satis. Now with the Crab Tank as well, Tidy Tidings are going to struggle to move forwards in the face of that. They might not even be able to drop in to stop that second checkpoint. unless they use the crab tank and the strikes of their own. Looks like Rain is going to drop down, find one. The hammer comes in from Bobong. Can you find the leader? No, not quite, but you're going to chip it for quite a bit. The issue is that leader is so far out of anybody's reach. It's not quite possible to find picks, and you're going to pay the price for it. That's two that end up dropping on both sides, but Status with the map advantage generally are going to make more use of it. And with this haunt from Rain is just not... Rain is just going to be, like, known from on the side of Status, just constantly called out here as well. Really difficult things. It's just tough to move in general for Tidy Tidings here.
I mean, look at what Sadis is running. Of course, it's hard to move around. You have a leader constantly watching you, and 3 weapons that are, I mean, each more with more ways of moving than the others. I mean, Splash, Zap, and the sword. Moving a lot, so you can be caught pretty easily with every move you do. Nice pierce here by the Edit. Getting 1 kill, getting a second. Yep, getting the trade helps by the wipe.
And that's going to lead to a start of a push for Tidy Tidings. It looks like the 2 front lines are going to try and make a little bit more space for this tower to move, as I believe Cody just tries to ride it for a little bit. However, they're not going to be able to move it much past 90 without finding more picks. The splash from going to find the fight with the bucket. 2 players end up going down here on the side of Tidy Tidings. And Satis, again, just staunch defenses the entire way through. L hasn't really found any like game-breaking picks with this leader yet, but hasn't really needed to. Tidy Tidings haven't really been able to play because of the leader, and that's just enough impact for that leader to be super valuable.
I mean, as long as you put pressure and tell people like, no, you can't move in or you're getting splatted, is so strong, and that's the main ability of the leader. And for the moment, the leader from Sadis is showcasing that perfectly well. Look at that Zipcaster going around and around, putting pressure on that tower, but it's finally ending, and Tidy Tidings are getting pretty strong push for the moment. Probably their first one in a while. Nice kill on H, the strikes are out, and still moving a lot, but the tower is going to get lost here.
Oh, that's going to be the end of the push for Tidy Tidings, not quite able to find any picks to extend it. And now with Crab Tank, Sadists are able to find one, looking for a little bit more, just getting a lot of chip damage onto the remaining 3 members of Tidy Tidings here. They're all kind of corralled into this left-hand side, and the Stamper looks for one, finds it. Rain ends up trading out, and Cody with this Crab Tank is just going to try and just hold as much space as possible for Tidy Tidings, wait for that Heavy Edit to respawn, and just try and get a little bit more space. But this leader really has not been pressured all that much outside of the occasional hammer toss. And again, just having that constant threat, especially with the shooters running around and causing chaos, it's really just been saddest game all day. Oh! Okay,
that was a shot on Cody. That was definitely a huge shot. Putting out that pressure, just vanishing it. And with 30 seconds left, it's full control for Sadis. Look at Tidy Tidings completely locked into their spawn, facing that pressure. The crab is out. Will it be able to take some kills? For the moment, it's struggling to do so.
Oh, it's not looking great for Tidy Tidings. However, they may have just found the opportunity that they need. A couple of picks go in their favor. Lumi needs to hop on that tower right now. The Crab Tank, though, is going to immediately find an answer, and the picks as well. Can they deal with this Stamper along with this constant barrage? And the answer is no. The Kraken comes through, and Sadis, they put themselves on a pretty quick match point.
Match points is going to be huge for Sadis. I mean, they have such momentum and such control over what happens into this set. They haven't let Tidy Tidings get the edge over them once. Like, I don't think Sadis were even once in a position where Tidy Tidings had the lead.
I don't think there was either. They hardly got past 90 until they got to that first checkpoint. That was a really solid push, but just not quite enough. Sadis able to just squeeze a little bit more out of their push earlier, and that really kind of sealed the deal for them. You know, this last second scramble isn't where you want to be either, especially when you're dealing with a Crab Tank, the Stamper behind you, and the Kraken. It's just a no-win situation when you look at it with that little time left.
And so with game 4 secured by Satis, we're going to game 5. ID Tidings need a perfect run if they want to make it back, if they want to take that win. And that run may start on Zone Robo Ramen. It's such a classic map, but also the layout is pretty interesting because it's very flat, very straightforward, but at the same time, you have those flanks, you have those low spots where you can sneak in and go around that mid. So very interesting. You have to pay attention to any potential flanks, whether it comes from a slasher or anything.
Yeah, those little paintable walls on any side of mid are really valuable there. Like you just said, the slosher can find angles, the stampers can, even the shooters, if they really see an opportunity, especially with their mobility and ability to like surge off and just beam somebody that's chasing after them. Definitely, you have to be on top of your game. Your mechanics have to be on point, winning every single fight. But we're going to see a little bit of a slowing down from the side of Satis with their comp. We're going to see that return to the 96 and the scoped leader again, along with the splash. They're just trying to... Oh.
Mistake, apparently?
I guess. I think they had the wrong rosters. Like, maybe not the right players in the lobby on the side of Tidy Tidings. They do have a 6-player... They do have like a 5 or 6 player roster here, so can get a little confusing who's in, who's out, you know?
Yeah, on the side of Tidy Tidings, of course, you're trying to make switches between your players to maximize your chances. If a comp hasn't worked in the past few games, of course you want to change that, and you want to, go with a different way of playing or with a different flow.
Mm-hmm. Man, this is pretty tough for Tidy Tidings as well. Just not really able to establish anything on either of these pushes. I want to know I want to see what they can do here. They need to turn it around immediately. I believe we saw the Luna and Bucket make an appearance there, just trying to play a lot for that AoE, and maybe just make use of that hammer and those smaller choke points, make it harder for them to run away on the side of like the leader or Crab. Seems like a pretty interesting counter pick there, especially with the Fizzies to contest zone a lot easier too.
Yeah. What can be very interesting on that map too is I don't know if they have one, but a Rift Slider. Rift Slider is amazing at capping that zone.
Yeah.
You put one Rift Slider and just one bomb, and it takes the zone instantly. So it can be very good if you have, for example, a Dread. Dread is a very, very good Rift Slider weapon because you can put so much paint. At the same time, you have some range, you have some kill power. Very solid weapon overall, but let's see if anyone brings that to the table.
We're going over to the vanilla leader, and then unfortunately we're not going to see any Reef Slider. Hero shot though with the Zuka.
Yeah, V-shot going on Cody's side. It's going to be a very interesting comp. I mean, it's pretty classic, except maybe for the Luna. For the moment, again, like strong start by Satis. The Crab is like ready after 15 seconds. That's almost like a cooler performance.
Like clockwork, just has these crabs up right when you need them if you're Satis. Finding a couple of picks afterwards as well, able to drop down. And the leader finds that third one too. Satis have already fully established themselves. They're knocking on the spawn of Tidy Tidings here. Bobong not really able to move. Maybe can find the pick on the with that Luna AoE, but not quite going to get it. Able to jump out in time, pop that crab tank as well. Force Bobong to pop the hammer to deal. But really, Tidy Tidings haven't had an opportunity here to push at all.
Yeah, and look at the score going down. We made it to like 3/4, 3/4 of that game, and for the moment, it's still full control for Satis. Tidy Tidings have one opportunity to go back. Never mind, maybe one. They need to paint that zone, need to take the recap, and they need to inflict that penalty. But for the moment, it's not happening.
Oh, they need to paint the square. It's been neutral for too long. Please, just somebody cap it at this point. Sadist do so. And they just clean things up with 100-0, just like business. And
to a straight 5-0. By Saddest, what a last game. They lost control once and didn't even get a penalty. That team. Look at those outfits. Perfect team.
Oh, what an incredible shirt. The Krusty Sean one. Man, Saddest were just on top of things from start to finish this game, especially with those crab tanks. Also, just getting aggressive at the right times on that splash. Super important, capitalizing off of chip damage from the rest of the team, and also windows created by stuff like the Kraken. Really helped out Saddest in just kind of closing things out here at the very end. Excellent work to Saddest as a whole, and they continue their impressive run. Just tallying it up to 3-0 in this LUTI group.
Yeah, that's an amazing performance by them. Let's see, I mean, how Tidy Tidings are doing for the moment. They won their first match against Gaia, who were like second seeded.
That's a solid win
of the entire division, but lost 5-3 against 21 Civ. So yeah, it's pretty even on their LUTI for the moment. But yeah, as you said, Saddest are just going through an insane run for the moment.
Yeah, they've kind of just been beating kind of every team in their group so far, and it hasn't been incredibly close. The closest thing they had was a 5-2 win over Aquatic Vanguard in week 1. And outside of that, it's just been domination from them through and through. Next week, they're going to be playing against Tidal Disruption, one of the other teams that has been having a great run so far, 2-0 right now, using their reschedule in week 1 and then beating Aquatic Vanguard and Gaia in the past couple of weeks. So that's going to be a set to look out for. Tidy Tidings, though, looking for a way to bounce back. Going to have to take on Aquatic Vanguard. That's going to be a tough set. I think that's pretty fun. I know a few of the guys on Aquatic Vanguard, and I think they're going to be circling that one on their calendars as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how it goes, and we'll come back, of course, in the coming weeks with more LUTI matches onto Dapple Production. Before we close that stream, Sigdo, where can we find you on the different socials?
You can find me at Sigdokari, whether it's Blue Sky, Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. Basically, wherever the Splatoon community is, I'll probably be somewhere around there as well. Now, Inkuri, where can everybody find you?
Just written on your screen, Inkuri22, type it everywhere you want, like Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, Twitch. Anywhere you want, you'll find me. But I'm mostly working with a structure, so type InkSouls. You may find us on InkSouls, Twitch, YouTube again. You name them. Splatoon team, French Splatoon organization. That's probably mostly what we do. Thank you for the commentary, Sigdo. It was amazing to cast with you, to be at that commentary desk. Thank you a lot, Joe Ryan, for the stream, who streamed you those past 2 matches. And it's time to close in, so see you in a while, and bye-bye.